like fantasy football and sports betting? Come join us here at the Parlay Fantasy Football Podcast, where hosts Matt, Shane, and Jason talk about fantasy players, lineups, and sports betting to help you compete and win championships. And of course, some extra cash. Let's jump right into the show.
Welcome back to another episode of the Parlay Fantasy Football Podcast. Matt, Shane, and Jason with you guys on another glorious episode. How are you guys doing tonight?
I am feeling pretty fantastic. You know, the Chiefs are 3-0. So, we looked ugly getting there. The Steelers are 3-0. And the Texans lost. So it's a beautiful day for me.
Yeah, no, it was a get right week for me. I wasn't on my high horse. Y'all know I wasn't. I don't know really what to expect from this team. I expect good things, but I don't expect an undefeated season or anything like that. So, hey, it was a get right week for us. I'm mentally sane right now. So, hey, glad to be back.
I like that. Jason, I really do like that attitude because, listen, no one expected the Steelers to be 3-0 at this point in time. They're going to have their highs and lows, but I just am excited with how they've looked. The Texans are a fantastic team, but yes, like you said, I don't think anybody's going to go undefeated for a long time. So, Shane, the Chiefs ain't going undefeated.
Hey, it'd be sick if they did. I still got that ticket, baby.
I mean, it would be cool to see another undefeated team. But, guys, welcome back into the show, guys. Remember, this is our fantasy episode. We're going to be talking about some news, notes, hots, nots, and we're going to go through waiver or schedules and talk about players that maybe not a lot of people are talking about. But before we jump into any of that kind of stuff, remember to follow us on X, on the old X machine, as we like to say. You can find Shane at Shane Parlay FF. You can find Jason at Jason Parlay FF. Myself at Matt_Parlay FF. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you guys listen to your audio podcasts, whether you're driving or sitting in your office or just chilling at home, man, go and check out the Parlay Fantasy Football Podcast. We still have our own brand. Check it out over there. Give us a follow, 5-star review. It really does help out the show. And also, if you don't know by now, we are partnered with Fantasy Six Pack. Head on over to fantasy6pack.net. Get your all-access membership today. Okay, it's a one-time fee, and then you have access to everything on the website, which there is a crap ton over there, and you have a lot of knowledgeable people that are involved with this. So head on over there, do that. Go to the Discord channel, be a member in the Discord because there's a ton of people in there that will answer every single one of your questions without any pause. Like, it is instant, and you can find all of our betting stuff as well over there. So with that being said, Shane, why don't you jump into some news and notes for tonight?
All righty, fellas. The news and notes section. Everybody loves it. Everybody hates it. Let's start off with the funnest of the fun. Russell Wilson has been linked to the Miami Dolphins.
Now, okay.
This is the rumor mill. This is the rumor mill. So, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think it's bad for Miami. It's a competent quarterback that will get Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle the ball. But what are your guys' thoughts on that? Like, do you think that that's a realistic possibility?
I mean, it makes sense to me. The Miami Dolphins are still in win now. Russ gives them a chance to have a bridge quarterback until Tua comes back, and he looks to have not won the job in Pittsburgh because Justin Fields is playing adequately. I mean, what's Pittsburgh gonna like? They're trading a dude with a $1.25 million contract. Like, darn, give us a 3rd round pick for this dude we stole for free.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I get both sides of it, but if I were the Steelers, I wouldn't do it just yet, unless it was a sexy offer.
A 3rd round pick? 3rd round pick for a guy
that's what I'm saying. If they got a sexy pick for it, then yeah, of course. But I mean, I wouldn't do it unless it was something
worth it because you have a competent starter for next to nothing. Yeah, I mean, I understand that.
Yeah, I want it to happen. I think that the chaos would be cool. Anyways,
it'd be good for my fantasy team.
Yeah, we wouldn't have to watch Skylar Thompson's butt get ripped out on TV. Listen. There was a Lamborghini signed to the Los Angeles Chargers practice squad. And that was Jalen Reagor. That's big news, folks. Jalen Reagor on the come up there in LAC. Adam Thielen added to the injury reserve. I don't know how I didn't laugh through that. Adam Thielen was added to the injury reserve. Unfortunately for the Carolina Panthers, he did have an excellent game, and he will miss the next 4 at least with a hamstring issue. More bad news for the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, you get T. Higgins back, and then Trent Brown suffered a torn patellar tendon, will miss the rest of the season with surgery. That is rough. That means that their first round pick, though, does get to play. So Amarius Mims will be starting at right tackle going forward. Other than that, most of the news is pretty bleak. Evan Ingram is questionable to play week 4, which is crazy considering the fact that he hurt his hammy in a warm-up. Man, when you hit 30, things just pull when you least expect them.
Tell me about it.
Okalung, who is the Jaguars' star linebacker, is expected to miss multiple weeks with plantar fasciitis. So the Jaguars just keep taking hits. Gabe Davis also on the injury report with a shoulder injury, and Anton Harrison is considered day-to-day as well. So, yeah, that is rough on their front. For the Dolphins, Kendall Fuller and Teron Armstead are both in concussion protocol, so that is big. For the Saints, their starting center, Eric McCoy, is expected to get surgery. So the Saints will be without their starting center in what has been a surprising unit for 6 to 8 weeks. So go ahead and mark that down as something that strong defensive lines will take advantage of. The only other really notable thing was Austin Eckler suffered a concussion on Monday Night Football, and he also got a laceration to his ear. So the dude, crazy. But yeah, so got a concussion and started bleeding out of his ear. It's unfortunate, unless you are a Brian Robinson owner.
And what do you just remember, guys, too? Devonta Smith.
Yes, yeah. The whole basically, if you have an Eagles player that you drafted, he's hurt, except for like Jalen and quads. Like Ed Goddard.
Yeah. Rough in the streets. In Philly.
Jahan Dotson season in Philly, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, that's we'll get into that here in a little bit. Let's Shane, let's go over some hot or nots from last week.
Ooh, from last week or for this upcoming week?
Or whichever how you have it laid out.
Oh, I was not going to recap last week's hot or nots, but I will say Jalen Naylor was on that list, and he was a banger. So
yes, he was.
We'll just go ahead and pat ourselves on the back. Let me flip back to that page, actually, Matt, because you brought up some good ones. Trey McBride, unfortunate.
Yeah, injury.
He suffered a concussion and is questionable to play this week as well. Injuries, man. They are all over the place. Zach Moss put up 20 points for you if you play in some fun leagues. If not, he put you 15 points with a pretty okay stat line. Ty Chandler did nothing.
Yeah.
So Aaron Jones kind of absolutely balled out, and they ran away with that game. Everybody on the not list was not good, except for Caleb Williams. So we had Zamir White, Sam Laporta, Caleb Williams, and Javonte Williams, the Williams guys on the not list. Caleb with a 300-yard passing game. That was kind of sick.
Yeah, it was. It was good to see. It was good to see that. What do you got on tap for this week, Shane?
This week, Matt, are you ready?
I'm born. I was born ready.
This is your fire and ice for this week. We have hot off the press, Dionte Johnson. Dionte Johnson is on fire. Look, the dude has 7 red zone targets already. How? They didn't get to the red zone.
Andy Dalton is their quarterback.
The red rifle lit a fire for Dionte Johnson, and it is cooking with full power. Speaking of full power, we're going to make like a bowl here and get Bucky, because it's Bucky Irving season with the Buccaneers. Bruh, the dude is electric when handed the football. He needs a lot of work catching and running, but he is electric between the tackles and has looked really good. If you played him last week, he put up 9 fantasy points, which isn't much, but there is some significant hype building behind him. So cool things ahead. Here is a surprising one for you, and this one will, get some interesting takes. Brandon Aiyuk is on my hot list.
Wow, that is surprising.
Look, he has underperformed. We understand.
Massively.
He had a wonky preseason. He had / off season, to be kind. But his peripherals look amazing. He's scored underneath his expected fantasy points for his overall targets, production, things like that, by a whopping 12 points this year. So expect some regression to the mean coming for Brandon Aiyuk, and he's gonna pop off, and then it's not gonna be you're not gonna be able to stop him. So especially when they start getting some of their weapons back and healthy, that just allows Aiyuk to get more open, and it's going to be interesting. If this is your buy chance for Brandon Aiyuk, so take advantage of it if you see fit. And last but not least, a guy that, if he's on your waiver wire, should be a priority waiver wire ad, Darnell Mooney. Look, Atlanta has the big 2. They have Kyle Pitts. They have Drake London as far as the passing game goes. Darnell Mooney is almost trying to make it the big 3. So 100%. He is balling back-to-back weeks, producing over 10 fantasy points. And, he's turning some heads. He's running good routes. He was a good wide receiver in Chicago and seems to be turning the clock back a bit after a rough season last year. So Darnell Mooney, Brandon Aiyuk, Dionte Johnson, and Buck Irving are your hot list of the week. No, not list. I'm sorry. We talked Zeke up last week when we were doing the matchup rundown. We did. He lost running back share insane amount. Last week he owned a 25% running back share in the backfield for Dallas. Rico has officially Rico'd the backfield. Zeke is droppable. Mark Andrews, 33% snap share. And John Harbaugh, God bless his heart, came out and said, I don't foresee this changing. We're going to continue to use varied looks. It's going to be a week-to-week basis. I don't see Mark Andrews necessarily being always on the field. That's rough for a guy that was a 5th round pick, at least a 5th round pick, 4th in some leagues. And a death knell for everybody's least favorite running back. It's finally here. Deandre Swift, here bad.
Yes, it's not good.
It is officially over. Could somebody bing?
I wish I had a panic alarm, because I would be pressing it on a couple of those. I am severely panicked.
Not to mention their offensive play calling is atrocious.
Yeah.
So the combination of a bad offensive line, a bad running back, and bad play calling. DeAndre Swift, if you can still salvage a trade with DeAndre Swift, I would expeditiously do so. Last but not least, a guy that Matt hypes up all the time. Has had some suspect quarterback play. Michael Pittman Jr. is on the not list.
Oh, Pity City.
Look, he just doesn't mesh well with what the Colts are trying to do. And that's part of the big issue here. Additionally, Josh Downs coming in to take the, short routes. And Pitty is left to do the intermediate things, which surprisingly, Anthony Richardson may be more accurate throwing the ball 20 yards down the field than he is 5 yards down the field. So maybe it's a good thing that Josh Downs is back, but it remains to be seen. Pitty has supremely underperformed, and his analytical metrics do not look good. I'm sorry, Matt.
No, I agree with you. Like, Pitty City was one of my favorite players. Like,
he's a fantastic wide receiver.
Excellent wide receiver. And I don't know what they're doing in Indianapolis. They're just not utilizing him, like Shane said, short passes down the field. Like, I mean, he's a big-bodied receiver. He needs to be downfield more.
He needs to do the Amon-Ra things, though. I think that's when he excels the best. Like,
yeah,
letting him create the space, the separation, and then hitting him between the numbers, which Anthony Richardson just cannot do. No. That's the biggest issue. Is like, it's just not possible. If he does, it is a howitzer. There is no touch, no feel on a 5-yard pass. Yeah. It is an absolute missile. It's probably going like Mach 25 or something. Like, it is insane. Just the rifle that he just decides to unload on somebody when he's 7 yards from them.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid. Oh, man. Yeah, so guys, keep those players in mind. If you have those players on your roster, the hot ones, don't be shy now. Don't be shy. Fire them up. The not ones, you may want to look at your roster, look at your waivers, because there's some players out there that you could probably pick up and feel comfortable playing.
Yeah, you can still flip guys like MPJ and Mark Andrews. Like, they still have the name value, and someone in your league will probably, give you someone who's on the rise. Yeah, like someone like you can make a deal still to salvage those big name players. In my opinion, I'm wait and see on Mark Andrews. Like, I'm not trying to sell him just because, things aren't going right with Andrews. If you have an alternative, play him. And then when Andrews has a big game, then look to trade him. Because it's going to happen. He's going to blow up. Like, the thing about, like, the variance of, like, he may not play as much. The 1 week Harbaugh decides to play him 100% of the snaps, and he goes for 8 catches and 140 yards and 2 touchdowns, you're going to be like, oh, he's back. And everybody's going to want him. Yep. And then you have the hottest trade piece in like week 9.
Yeah. Jason, what do you think about that?
Well, I'm wishful, and I hope Shane is right, because I do have Andrews in 2 leagues, and it's one of those things where, like, I'm looking at waiver wires right now, but I'm also holding him just because of that one game that he is probably going to have eventually, hopefully soon, to where then you can get assets for him.
Jason, I will trade you Michael Pittman for Mark Andrews straight up.
No.
Okay. Well, damn, I tried.
Hold on. That would actually be a funny thing. From this point forward, let's keep track of how many points each one has. Like, we'll just season long it from week 4 on and see
that's
who
a good,
more points.
I like that.
Okay.
We'll make a little tracker. I'll make a little chart, and we'll pop it up at the beginning of every episode. And this will be like the MPJ versus MA chart.
Yeah, I like that. Let's do that, Shane.
Okay.
Let's do that. All right, boys, let's jump into the schedule breakdown for the week. Remember, guys, we're gonna talk about some players. Obviously, there's some of these games, obvious players that you're gonna start, but maybe some players that might be sneaky for each team. So let's open it up with this Thursday night game. You have the Dallas Cowboys traveling to New York to play the New York Football Giants. We obviously know what Dallas just came off of. We know their record. We know the disappointment that Dallas fans have. We know that Malik Neighbors is an absolute monster. Daniel Jones looked competent last week.
19 fantasy points.
Yeah. So you know who you're starting with. You're starting Neighbors. You're starting CD. Are there any other players that you like in this specific matchup that maybe a lot of people are hesitant on?
With Dexter Lawrence being injured, I like Rico.
Okay.
And I mean, Jake Ferguson's a must start at this point, so fire him up. Jalen Tolbert, who we mentioned in week 2's Hot or Not. Jalen Tolbert turned it up the last 2 weeks. Look for him to continue to carve out like that wide receiver 2 thing. And the Giants secondary is absolute trash. So CD is going to go nuclear.
Yeah. And a lot of people are hoping for CD to go nuclear because Dak threw the ball 52 times last week. I know it was negative game script, but Dak's notorious for throwing the ball like crazy. And I've heard so many people oh, CD was so pissed. Him and Dak they hate each other now. It's like, no, CD is obviously a must start. You have to fire him up. But Jason, what do you got?
I think you have to start Singletary this week as well versus the Cowboys defense. Just based on the volume that he got last week and him getting in the end zone and what we've seen out of the Dallas run defense, I feel like him out of the backfield, especially catching the football and running it, I think Singletary is the start.
Yeah, I like that too. I mean, most people are probably going to have no choice but to start him, but yeah, no, I like that play as well. What do you guys think before we move on to the next game? What do you guys think of Wan'Dale Robinson?
I love me some Wan'Dale Robinson
because he's getting I mean, he's the wide receiver 2 in that offense. He's getting targeted quite a bit.
He is 100% worth a waiver wire pickup if you are weak at wide receiver and just want some consistency points, because he's going to give that to you. He has produced 8.8, 8.8, and 9.6 through 2 games.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if he falls into the end zone.
Yeah, he's already fallen in the end zone one time.
That is true.
To be fair, it was against the worst pass defense in football, but they do play Washington Redskins or Commanders again. Sorry,
yeah, easy now.
There. And yeah, I like Wan'Dale a lot. Big fan. I had a player, and then I lost said train of thought when you brought up Wan'Dale Robinson because I got excited. Oh, Tyrone Tracy. Tyrone Tracy should be mentioned on the Deep League ads because the dude has officially outrun Eric Gray for RB2 there, and he's showing some flashes. He averaged 4.6 yards per carry last week.
Yeah, Tyrone Tracy, I think, needs to be added on the majority of rosters just for that safety factor because he's going to continue getting touches. And he is. Yes, for sure. Let's move on to the Saints traveling to Atlanta. So, who do you like in this matchup other than the obvious starters?
Rashid Shaheed.
You do like him this week.
This is your buy low opportunity for Rashid Shaheed. He still had a 75% snap share. He was targeted 5 times, just didn't pull any in, and they were just not good last week. That was the biggest thing. Like, they were just out of sync. Expect Rashid Shaheed to return to form.
I agree. And Atlanta's secondary is not the best.
Yeah, they have AJ Terrell, and then it really falls off.
Right. Agreed.
Now, do you guys think Derek Carr, because a lot of people did start him last week, and he obviously did not do very well, is he still a streaming option for guys like Anthony Richardson if you're really not confident in AR-15 or, those types of quarterbacks? Do you like Derek Carr?
I don't think you should shy away. This week, I think there's better options out there. But if he's still available, don't shy away from adding him just because he had one off game. This offense is still going to overperform with Kubiak now at the helm.
Okay. Jason, anything?
Yeah, I like Carr over AR, to be completely honest. This week I would start Carr over AR.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of people asking those kinds of questions because everybody's saying, Carr did the normal Carr things, has 2 or 3 good weeks, and then falls off the face of the earth. And then people just get confused and they don't really know. Obviously, on the Atlanta side, guys, you're going to start Bijan, you're going to start London, you're going to start Mooney, you're going to start Pitts if you have him, probably, because the tight end landscape is just wonky right now.
He's tight end 8 right now, brother.
Yeah, so you're going to start him. You're going to start him for sure. What about Kirk Cousins? Another potential streaming option?
Begrudgingly, yes.
I like Jason's face.
That's my answer. Like there got to be better options than Kirk Cochains, but sure.
Yeah.
He's pretty safe production.
Yeah, I don't love it, but if that's the only option I had, probably.
Okie dokie. Next game, Steelers traveling to let me rephrase that. The undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to the Indianapolis Colts. We kind of already mentioned on AR-15. We mentioned on Michael Pittman. I am assuming on the Colts side, I don't love starting much minus Jonathan Taylor on this side of the ball. I don't know how you guys feel, but I know the Steelers defense is they're going to do their thing like they always do.
I mean, yeah, the only other player I'd feel okay with starting would probably be Josh Downs. And that's an okay feeling. Like
a flex play.
Yeah, like if I'm one of those teams that had the injury bug, Josh Downs is like not a bad start in that spot.
Yeah. And then on the Steelers side, Najee's really balling out. And by the way, we didn't mention it in the news and notes, but he was seen with a sling on his arm, but coaches and everything come out and said that he's fine. Jalen Warren, I don't know.
He's banged up, but no reports have come out officially. Yeah. Like that's why I didn't mention those two, because Najee got cleared, and then Warren, we haven't heard anything officially yet. So we're still waiting on word for Jalen Warren.
Yeah. So George Pickens, Najee Harris, that's another quarterback. You willing to flex out Fields here in this situation?
Yeah. I am. Harris is a must play against 100%. This terrible Colts run defense. So, yeah, Harris is a smash. Fields is an okay spot start here, I think. And Pat Freiermuth, probably worth playing.
Okay. Jason, anything on
how terrible tight ends are?
I feel like those are the only guys that you're even remotely thinking about. But yeah, no, Najee's the dude. Is easy slam.
I love Najee this week. Next game, guys, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Daniel Jones-esque led Jacksonville Jaguars playing Jason's Houston Texans. Jason, I'm going to let you take this away. What do you like here?
Diggs finally got his targets and put up his yards last week, and I don't know if that was just because it was a blowout game and they had to move the football. I do not like Tank Dell. I feel like it's one of those things, unless I see it, I need more production out of you. Without a run game, Houston's kind of limited. I don't know Mixon's status going into this week, but
I don't know either.
Akers did look good whenever they actually blocked for him. Texans, I mean, I think you could spot start Schultz this week versus the Jags. He could be a potential option. But other than that, on the Houston side of the football, you know who you're running out there. I would start CJ. I would start Nico. Other than that, maybe Schultz. I don't feel confident about Diggs and or Dell this week.
Yeah, I'm kind of on that same page with you. I know that there's a lot of worry in the streets, as I guess they would say about Tank Dell. I'm not panicking on Tank Dell. I'm not like crazy worried, but I am interested to see how this unfolds between him and Diggs.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I had an option, a flex option, I might roll that out. But I'm not saying that I would not flex Tank Dell out either, just because I think at the end of the day, he is a safe play to at least get you some guaranteed fantasy points. So if you're a team that would prefer guaranteed over your boomer bust, let me roll out a guy and hopefully gets me double digits. I think Tank Dell would be a safe play.
He's a little banged up. He's a little banged up, has some rib issue.
Yeah, but I think he's going to play. He's going to play. On the Jacksonville side, Shane, who do you like here? Trevor Lawrence?
No. Not even in Superflex at this point. Houston's defense is really good.
Yeah.
And the one weak point they have actually is against the run. So I don't mind Etienne if they can figure out how to block, because last night was atrocious.
Yeah.
So Yeah, if they could figure out what to do, which I don't have hope for this Jags team, ETN would be a play, but like you drafted him, you're not going to bench him. So
is Tank Bigsby worth a flyer pickup? Because he got some play last night.
Yeah, and he was off an injury too. So
yeah,
I want to say yes because he looks good. The issue is I don't know when he'll be utilized because I think they're always going to be behind.
True. That's a good point. I know I saw some questions about, the potential add of Tank Bigsby in those deeper leagues. So keep your eye on that. If it's something you really want to roll out and you have the space for it, go ahead. Other than that, in your shallower leagues, I'd leave them on the waivers. You have the Minnesota Vikings traveling to Green Bay. Revenge game for Aaron Jones. Guys, I think this is going to be a firework game. Jordan Love could potentially be back. He almost made it back last week. I could see them rolling him out, which, in my personal opinion, if it's Jordan Love at the helm, I don't mind rolling out the wide receivers, even though they are playing against a very formidable defense. And the only reason why I'm saying guys like Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, potentially Romeo Doubs, they're at home. And that's the only reason why I would play them. I do like Jaden Reed a lot if Jordan Love is back. Josh Jacobs, obviously, you're going to roll out. Minnesota side, of course, Justin Jefferson. You're starting Aaron Jones. But what do we think about guys like, Sam Darnold? Is that a flex play?
Yes.
Is Jalen Naylor another flex play this week? Or is Jordan Addison making a return this week?
If Jordan Addison comes back, Naylor will take a back seat. So, unfortunately, Jalen Naylor probably not a play this week. But if Addison doesn't play, Naylor is definitely in play.
But even if Addison suits up Shane and plays, I'm still not starting Addison this week. I want to see what he does.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand the hesitancy. I would, if I backed into a corner, not be sad about firing up Addison. I think that he could have a productive game.
Okay.
Also, I think that the over, I know this isn't the betting one, but the over is definitely in play. Both teams have gone over in all of their games so far.
Ty Chandler?
No, unfortunately not. Not until something happens to Aaron Jones.
Okie dokie. Let's move on. Cincinnati Bengals. The winless Cincinnati Bengals, I might add, playing at Carolina, and the Panthers led by Mr. Red Rocket himself. We've obviously talked about Dionte Johnson. You are 1,000,000,000% firing him up this week. He is on our hot list, so don't feel ashamed. Dude's going to ball out when Andy Dalton is the quarterback here. As far as running backs go, Chuba Hubbard, I think, is an okay play. I do like that play.
Mm-hmm.
Bengals look like Swiss cheese. Chuba Hubbard is a go.
Yeah.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah. Do we have any information on when? Oh, I guess Jonathan Brooks has to wait one more week before he's eligible to come back, right?
Correct. Yeah, he's still on the pup for this week. So,
okay.
But he is nearing return supposedly. We'll see what happens.
Gotcha. Cincinnati side.
Zach Moss, maybe. I mean, the Panthers' run defense is pretty bad. To be fair, I think that this game could have some fireworks, which is gross to say, because both these defenses are terrible.
Down bad.
Yoshi could be a start at this point, considering the fact he's logged 4 touchdowns this year or 3 touchdowns this year.
I'm assuming you're going to fire up the receivers.
Yeah. The deep ad. Are you ready?
I know what you're going to say here.
Do you? Eric All.
Oh, no, that's not who I thought you were going to say.
Who do you think I was going to say?
Mike Gesicki.
Well, Gesicki's like a normal league ad. Eric All is your deep league ad because he is getting some run and he is a rookie this year. In fact, they subbed Gesicki off in the red zone to let Eric All go run a route because they really like him. So it's interesting to see how that shakes out as the season progresses. But Eric All is a deep deep ad, specifically if he's now rostered in your dynasty league, which he probably is. And then Jonathan Mingo, I think, is a fire play this week, which is a weird name to say out loud, and I'm sorry I did. But I think Mingo, if you need a spot start, could shock the world.
Love it. All right, let's move on. The Los Angeles Rams playing at Chicago Bears. Who do you like here, Shane?
Romadunze showing that he can catch the football and do cool things.
Is he worth a start in your opinion?
Possibly. It kind of depends, obviously, on your roster construction. At this point, yeah, the Rams are like defense, like secondaries. It's not good. So yeah, I think I'd fire up Rome, and just hope Caleb can roll back-to-back good weeks. I also don't really know what to think of the Rams passing because I can't trust anybody at this point.
I'm probably staying away from them this week.
And they're playing Chicago. And Chicago's defense is really good. I think Kyron's the only player on the Rams that you're like, I have to start.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah,
I can agree with that.
100%.
All right, let's move on then. Let's go to the Denver Broncos playing at the New York Football Jets. Jason, who do you like here? Bo Nix?
Hell no. You already know who I like in this game. This is kind of gross. I really don't know what to think about the Broncos. I know Bo Nix did have his best game, but I still feel like you are firing up just the normal people on the Jets side. I'm kind of staying away from the Broncos, honestly, at the moment. I need to see a couple good weeks out of them. Braylon Allen, I hate how he's stealing touches from
he's a beast,
from
bro.
Breeze. He looks great.
Dude, he's a
Stealing touches from
beast.
him.
Yeah,
So-
that was a great draft pick. I'm in agreement with you. I don't think we need to talk much about this game.
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton, if you have to fire up someone, Cortland Sutton might be a play. I'm staying away right now. I'm staying away from Broncos running backs. It looks like it's now shared between 4 guys. So I don't know what's going to happen here. It's a wait and see on the running back situation. I think Javonte Williams is actually kind of broken. I don't think he's worth much anymore at all. Is there anybody else besides Cortland Sutton if you had to fire up somebody on the Broncos side?
If I had to choose one, Josh Reynolds, like we preached that last week. Marvin Mims is dead apparently.
I don't know what's going on there.
I don't understand it at all. But yeah, if it's not Cortland Sutton, it's got to be Josh Reynolds. In my opinion, though, Tyler Conklin is a name to watch for this game, and Mike Williams may make a splash, but Alan Lazard has been an absolute red zone hog.
Mhm.
So he has 5 targets in the red zone. He has 3 of them caught for touchdowns.
All right, guys.
Lazard's a fire.
Philly playing at Tampa. Who you like?
Mike Evans. Darius Slay, possibly not playing. Philly, going to be looking rough.
I agree.
I think Evans, with the coach speak and all of the things that are going on in Tampa, look, Godwin's firing up, but like Evans is going to get his. And I think that this is a perfect opportunity for them to, reward the big man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it's a get right week for Evans. Godwin has had the better production over the last 2 weeks, and we usually know how that goes. The defense will key on the guy who's had the better production. I think Evans does well this week versus that hit or miss secondary for the Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles also surprisingly good against slot receivers.
Yeah. Yep. And then obviously on the Philly side, wait and see with injuries, but you're starting up quads, you're starting up Hurts, and you're starting up Goddard.
Yeah, you're firing Goddard for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys. Washington Commanders playing at Arizona. Kyler, come on, baby boy. You're gonna fire. I'm firing up Kyler. I'm firing up Marvin. James Conner, are you willing to start Michael Wilson? Greg Dortch, are you willing to start any of those other comp pieces?
Yeah. Commanders defense is one of the worst units in football. Fire up any piece you have would be my stance on the Cardinals. I think there's a very good chance that Kyler is QB1 this week in fantasy. Because I think this game could be high scoring because neither defense is fantastic and the Commanders cannot contain him. So there's a chance he runs all over them.
Yeah, highest point total of the week.
Yeah, 50.
I think the over-under is 50.
Yeah, it's 50 and a half, which, by the way, is an auto under.
Yeah, agreed.
And then Commander side, Terry McLaurin balled out.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels, I think, is worth a start now. He's going to do his thing against this Arizona defense that, like Shane said, is not very good. Brian Robinson Jr. going to fire up. Those are probably the pieces I'm most comfortable with. I guess if you're like desperate at tight end, you might start Zach Ertz. He looked okay last night. So
back weeks of him producing at least 4 points, which at this point, that'll win you your week.
That's right.
From the tight end position. So
okay, boys. New England Patriots going to San Francisco 49ers here. Obviously on the 49ers side, Brock Purdy. I think he's definitely still a streaming quarterback. Brandon Aiyuk, you're going to fire him up. If you have him on your lineup, you're not going to sit him unless you have an ungodly amount of good wide receivers. Jawan Jennings, that's the question. We don't know. Do we have any word on Kittle? Is he going to be back this week?
Kittle is considered day to day, not week to week. By the way, just to flip back, Mixon is considered week to week, not day to day. So
okay. If Kittle suits up and plays, you're probably starting him in your tight end landscape. Jawan Jennings, I think he's probably going to be one of the hottest waiver wire pickups on the week. You're probably going to have to dump a crap ton of fab on him because everybody saw that stat line, and people are just going to go nuts for him. So this week, I would start him because Debo is not going to be back. There is some kind of connection, I feel like, with Brock Purdy and Jawan Jennings. It seems like he makes some very tough catches. So I'm okay 1,000% starting him up.
Agreed.
Yeah, I completely concur.
On the Patriot side, I know Ramondre Stevenson did not have a good week last week. Barely got you anything. It was like 0.3 points. I'm still firing up Ramondre Stevenson. He is a dude. He's a good running back. And I know San Francisco's defense is good. But if you have Ramondre Stevenson on your roster, you drafted him early, it's going to be hard-pressed to bench him unless, again, you have some very good complementary pieces. Like, I'm assuming you guys feel the same way. J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, darn J.K. But yeah, I concur. I do think the Niners are going to key on the fact that he is the focal point of their offense and try to make Jacoby Brissett beat them, which, I mean, maybe Hunter Henry is the play this week.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's about the only thing that I feel comfortable with on New England side.
I agree. I agree. All right, Jason. Cleveland Browns going to the Las Vegas Raiders. Who do you like here, Jay?
Gross, I guess. I mean, it's one of those things. I think you're firing up Ford this week, of course. With the Raiders, I mean, maybe a spot play. Do we know who's going to be the starting quarterback this week? First off, is it Aiden O'Connell or Gardner?
Antonio Pierce came out and said it is not decided, but it is Gardner's position to lose still.
If it's Aiden O'Connell, fire up Jacoby Myers.
Yeah,
100%.
1,000%. 1,000%. Yeah, you know who you're going to start here. Devonta, you're going to start him.
Yeah, start the Raiders defense. The Browns offensive line is absolutely atrocious. Has a lot of pressure rate of 53%.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, and on the Brown side, I'm still willing to roll out Amari Cooper. He actually balled out last week. I know a lot of people were worried because he wasn't really producing, but you got your big game last week. Hopefully that continues. So fire him up with no avail. Shane, Kansas City Chiefs traveling to the Los Angeles Chargers. It's your Chiefs, baby. What you got?
My Chiefs. This game is absolutely freaking hideous. Harbaugh is going to make this the muddiest game possible. So honestly, I don't love a lot of the weapons. Rashid Rice is like guaranteed fired.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know. Carson Steele is a fireable. Although I think that it's going to be interesting to see how much Kareem Hunt is worked in. So those two things are kind of, coinciding information. Just kind of look to see what's happening in the practice. But I think Carson Steele at this point is a pretty smash play. If you need a flex,
I like him.
And then on the Chargers side, Quentin Johnston is a dude. He did get a broken coverage touchdown again the second time this year. He's gotten a broken coverage touchdown, but yeah, he's good. And even with Taylor Heineke, if he's the starting QB, I feel more comfortable with Quentin Johnston than I do with anybody else on the Chargers.
I am
aside from Jacob Dobbins.
I am firing up the Chiefs defense. I think the Chiefs defense scores a tutty this weekend.
Ooh, I like that.
Ooh, I like that call.
I do.
Okay.
I really do. I think the Chiefs defense is legit, and I think they're going to disrupt Taylor Heineke if it's him, and I think they score a tutty.
Dang it. Because there's a quarterback question mark, there's no posted line for anytime touchdown for Chiefs defense special teams. Unfortunately.
Oh, well, dang it.
That's what I was looking at. I was like, let me go look to see what that would be. Nope, that doesn't exist. Sorry.
Okay, guys, let's go to the Bills playing at the Ravens here. This is an interesting matchup. We've got 3 games left, so we'll try to fire through these pretty quick here. The Bills side, it's obvious. Josh Allen, James Cook, those are the two definites. The receiving core is what messes with me. I'm still firing up Dalton Kincaid. He got involved. I think that continues. But as far as the wide receivers go, you've got Khalil Shakur, you've got Curtis Samuel, you've got Mac Hollins, who seems to be playing way more than Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman only got 1 reception for 24 yards. It was a touchdown. What do you like here in the Bills wide receiver core?
I mean, we smashed it last week. Khalil is the dude.
I think he is the wide receiver.
That's it. Offense. Yeah, there's no. Yeah, it's Khalil or bust. Until Curtis Samuel figures out what his role is in this offense. And then maybe it's Curtis Samuel. I wouldn't if Curtis Samuel has been dropping your league, that is a sneaky ad because they want to get him the football. He lined up in the running back as a running back at one point. Like they're attempting to get creative. They want him to get going. Keon got benched for not being timely, which is the most childish thing ever, but also like, bro, you're in the NFL. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, agreed. Baltimore side, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers. You're going to start Mark Andrews. Is Isaiah likely? Is he worth a start this week?
Any tight end is. Any tight end that scored fantasy points is worth the start this week.
Okay, touche. Touche.
Yeah, you can even start Dawson Knox and feel okay because he outsnapped Dalton Kincaid. I sure if you have likely on your team and you have a Dookie tight end, why not?
Yeah,
Justice Hill is a flex.
Oh yeah.
Let me just throw that out there. Justice Hill against this. Semi-suspect Bills defense. Definitely.
I like that. Jason, you got anything to add there?
Mark Andrews, you better show up this week because I don't need another 0. I don't need one.
Yeah. Hopefully he does. He's too good of a tight end not to. So, Harbaugh, if you're listening to this, you better fire him up. Okay, guys, we got 2 games left. Tennessee Titans playing at the Miami Dolphins. Barf. I mean,
start a running back, move on.
Yeah. Just a real quick question. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Obviously, they both lose value without Tua there. Tyreek Hill, obviously, if you drafted him, you're not benching Tyreek Hill, right? I almost feel like Jalen Waddle actually, I don't feel comfortable starting him this week until Tua's back or they get a competent quarterback. But I almost feel like they do stuff to make sure that those two get the ball. And Jalen Waddle runs like the short intermediate routes. Is he a start in your, like, would you start him this week or would you bench him?
Waddle, no. Hill, yes. Jonnu Smith, again, he's a tight end with a pulse. Would consider.
Yeah.
Especially with Huntley stepping in. Like, if it's Huntley, those guys get a definite tick upwards if it's Huntley.
Yeah. Yeah. But I agree with you. I'm benching Waddle if you have him.
Yeah, I'm not starting Waddle this week.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. The Tennessee Titans, DeAndre Hopkins looked good last week. Calvin Ridley kind of disappeared, had a dud week. You like anybody on the Titans?
Pollard. I love him.
Yeah. Tony, I like. I think that this is just going to be an ugly game.
Okay. That's fine. I'm fine with that.
There's a 33% chance of rain or a hurricane on Monday. Just saying.
And don't forget, guys, that's a Monday night game. There's 2 Monday night games this week. That's one that you're probably not going to watch. You're going to watch the one I'm about to say. So the Seahawks traveling to Detroit to play the Lions.
Hold on. This game may have to be moved. Just saying. Like the
hurricane.
Yeah, the Miami Titans game may have to be moved because it's played in Miami and the storm track looks sketchy AF. So keep an eye on that. Yeah.
Hurricane Helena is coming your way, Florida.
Oh yeah.
So get the shit out.
Drop an Argus bomb on you.
Yeah, so keep your eye on that, guys. That's a good point. Last game, you have the Seattle Seahawks traveling to Detroit to play the Lions. I mean, it's pretty clear and obvious who the obvious starts are. DK Metcalf. That's like the clear and obvious start. We're waiting to see word on Kenneth Walker, what he's going to do this week. Zach Charbonnet looked extremely good last week. Keep your eye out on the running backs. As far as the Lions side, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, you're starting. Montgomery, Gibbs, those are the starters. Jameson Williams, 1 target last week, was kind of irrelevant. Sam Laporta, we don't know with his ankle injury. He is injured. We forgot to mention that. I don't know if he's going to play this week. Who else do you like in these games on these teams?
If Laporta doesn't play, I like Brock Wright. As like a deep shot, like replacement tight end. I like JSN. I think the Lions are really suspect against slot and wide receiver twos because their secondary is pretty bad. And I think that, whichever running back you have for the Lions, you're going to play and you're going to see 15 plus points every single week.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was going to say JSN. I like JSN this week.
I do too. He wasn't quite really involved last week, but I think that could have just been game script. Right. Zach Charbonnet balled out, and they didn't. Yeah, I mean, he balled out. So, yeah, I don't mind the Zach Charbonnet play at all. Tyler Lockett, is he worth a flex? Is he a flyer? He did well last week, was productive.
Yeah, I think he's definitely worth if you again are packed up into a corner, he's not a terrible player to go ahead and plug into your flex. So, like, yeah, if you have him on your team, that's a great depth, and I think he'll have a productive week. I will say an interesting little tidbit. The Lions have run 16% of their offensive plays in the red zone since the 2023 season, which is insane.
Yeah, that is crazy. That's crazy.
And also the Seahawks are the worst against the shotgun. So
awesome.
This is going to be a high scoring game and super exciting. I'm excited for this one.
Heck yeah. All right, guys, that is going to wrap up today's episode of our Parlay Fantasy Football podcast. Remember, guys, tune into Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you guys want to check out the audio version, subscribe, follow, leave 5-star review. It does help the show out. And head on over to fantasy6pack.net. Become an all access member today, man. One-time fee, tons of knowledge, tons of stuff over there. Discord channel, Fantasy Six Pack. Get involved with us. We're on there every day talking football, talking bets. Get on there, be a part of it. Follow us on our social media sites. We just love interacting with you guys. And Fantasy Six Pack on YouTube. Subscribe to them over there. That's where our video side is from here on out. Go subscribe to that. Get involved with us. We really do appreciate it. And with that being said, until next week, you guys know what to do.
Buy Tyreek Hill. Buy Brandon Aiyuk.
Ooh, y'all be good. Stay easy in Florida. Be safe.
Yes, sir. We love you all to the moon and back. And until next episode, peace out.